Do you know what else is weird? I was gonna ask you this later because I always like to warm up first, but I think we're
Yeah,
already
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Like, so how do you feel about the fact that okay, so I didn't know who you were until you
Yeah,
got here, so I had to research you, right?
sure.
So I type your name into Google, and every single article, the first thing they say, look how many followers he has, look how many views he has. It's like every article has to validate that you're good before
Yeah,
they even say you're an artist. Like
yeah,
it literally says you have views before it says, and by the way,
yeah,
this is kind of the work he does, and it touches on this, it touches on that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Clean Break, a podcast dealing with art and business, powered by Always Art. I'm your host, Matt Gondek. It's just like you kind of have to validate yourself, or someone has to validate you before you do anything.
Bro, I just think it's the world of grabbing attention, right? So you have to hook the reader,
Mm-hmm.
and the only way you're gonna hook them is by saying that not only is this person an artist, but look how many followers they have,
Yeah.
or look at some other, degree of measurement for their success, and it's I don't know, man. It's like, yeah, that's the game you have to play, but it does feel kind of icky.
Yeah, it
It
does.
feels icky,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh my God, like, so you're saying if I didn't have all these followers, like my work would matter less, you know?
I mean,
Weird.
unfortunately, in this world, it does.
I know.
It
It's weird.
sucks. Yeah.
It's a weird world. It's a
Yeah.
weird world.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, by the way.
Of course. Can I curse on this podcast?
Do whatever you want.
Sweet.
I
Let's go.
We might as well get into it.
Yeah.
So if anyone listening, that noise is we're making coffee right now. So we're just gonna deal
That's
with
it, man.
Yeah,
It's
we're
in
gonna.
the name.
It's real life, you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. I feel like I stepped in here. I'm already asking for shit,
You're such a demand. You know, you have all these followers. You come in here demanding things.
I know, bro. I'm the
What-
classic cappuccino motherfucker, Hollywood,
Yeah. Where are you from? New York.
New York. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, you are. I just heard it when you said New York.
New York. Yeah, man.
There it is.
Oh yeah, bro. People, the Uber drivers out here, I step in and I say, hey, how you doing? And they're
Mhm.
like, oh, you're from New York. I'm like, how did you know that? And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, just in how you said how you doing. It's that coffee
Yeah.
in New York. I
Yeah.
guess.
Great. All right. That's the whole interview. I just want to know where you're from. All right. So let's
that's
talk
it.
about who you are, not as a human being, but as a commercial product here. You're an animator, and Coolman Coffeedan.
Yeah.
Where is that like something you made up early on? That name?
Yeah, bro. I made that up in high school, man. It's a weird story. It doesn't carry any weight to it. It doesn't
Uh-huh.
mean shit, just
Okay.
like Childish Gambino like threw his real name into a like rap name
Yeah.
generator, and I think Post Malone did the same. I just I made up this combination of words in high school, and it just stuck, man. It just fucking stuck, bro. Like,
Do you think you're gonna go with that forever? Like you just had an exhibition in China. Was it a Coolman Coffeedan?
yeah. Well, like
Because of
people
branding, I guess they know you as
it
that.
just it's like it's my username across everything.
Yeah.
And then my artist name, I always went by, when I started painting, I always went by Coolman.
Mhm.
And just because it was a little shorter. But yeah, Chris calls me Coolman. I mean, it's just like everybody
Everyone
calls
calls
me
you Coolman?
Coolman. Yeah,
For
yeah,
real?
yeah. My family, my own
No
family
shit.
calls me, but my Instagram handle, so once I realized it's a hard thing to find a name that sticks.
Yeah.
In high school, like I was already so into branding and marketing. Once I realized like my friends were calling me that unironically,
Yeah.
they'd be like, "Oh, Coolman Coffeedan."
It's just what it is.
It's like, "Oh, that's stuck."
Yeah.
You can't force another name. Like if I were to
No.
try to rebrand to like Danny the Water Guy, it's
Yeah.
like that's a tough sell.
Yeah,
That's a
no,
tough
absolutely.
sell. Coolman Coffeedan.
All right, fair enough. You found YouTube at 12 and you just started
Yeah.
making videos,
Yeah.
and you were just really trying to break through making videos. And after like 9 years, you pulled one out of your ass like 3 a.m.
Yeah, you got a good memory, bro.
Yeah, I wrote it
Damn.
down, but I remember
Oh, okay,
this.
sick. Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm just
That's
trying to
pretty
I'm just
much
trying
it.
to set up this conversation for
Yeah,
people
yeah.
listening who don't know who you are. So you were quite young. You're just making random videos, animations on YouTube. No one's really caring. About 9 years in, 3 a.m, you make a dumb video about a snake,
Yeah.
and you go to bed, and that's the one that blew up, right?
Yeah, man.
So what's this video about the snake?
It was a video called Snakes Have Legs. And so it was an animation that, yeah, like you said, I had, idea for 3 a.m. I love the coffee brewing in the background. That's so on brand.
It's so loud.
It's so on brand for me. It can't go anywhere, man. But yeah, no, dude, I've been making content ever since I was 11, discovered YouTube like when it first came out in 2006. And it realistically took me 10 years to like find my stride and go viral. And that video that went viral was a video called Snakes Have Legs. You know, had that idea like while I was brushing my teeth, middle of the night, going to bed. I'm living in Williamsburg, Brooklyn with 5 other dudes. I don't even know how much, dude, I was probably like, you know, pennies away from being broke, not being able to keep the lights on. And stayed up an extra hour or so to make that,
Hmm.
you know, video. I was like, I don't want to forget it, you know, by going to bed. Like, let me just stay up a little bit longer. Never animated before in my life,
That was the
really.
first one.
Yeah, I just kind of figured it out because I was, you know, I went to school for film. I was always like
What were you?
making
What were the videos
movies,
before this one?
like comedy skits.
Oh
Yeah, you know,
God.
Smosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
like
made
stuff like
T-shirts for them.
Smosh.
Okay,
Oh,
I
sick.
used to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
like T-shirts before I was a painter.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
really?
it doesn't
Really?
matter.
No,
Yeah.
that's wild, man. So okay, so you know Smosh, like, you know, they were like, you know, #1, like, on
Hmm.
YouTube, you know, like that, you know, golden era of early YouTube, and, everybody wanted to, like, be like them, and I was, you know, I amassed, like, a solid little following. I would get, like, recognized at, like, my local malls, like, here and there on Long Island, and, um, never, like, you know, then I discovered, like, girls and had my first sip of a beer when I was, like, 16. I was like, "Alright, maybe I'm gonna chill on this YouTube thing," and I immediately realized that that was a mistake, like, a year or so later, and, I somehow made it happen all over for myself again a few years after that when I was 22 with Snakes Have Legs, and when that went viral, it was just so much more than anything that ever happened a decade prior to that, even
Yeah.
though I was hustling for, like, you know, from 11 to 16, and then I took a break, but, like, bro, I was hustling for a minute, and Snakes Have Legs, an animation made by, you know, an animator that just started that day. You know, I
Yeah.
just applied my filmmaking knowledge and video editing knowledge to, like, make my doodles move and all that. But it hit, bro. It, you know, the message resonated with hundreds of millions of people, and I was just like, "Holy shit, that worked."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna double down on that. Like, never thought I would be animating, but here I am, and videos just kept hitting. People liked my
Like right after
style.
everything one after another, they
Pretty
were quite
much, yeah, yeah,
popular.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I hit 1,000,000 followers on Instagram, and this is, like, pre-TikTok, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think TikTok made it much more accessible for people to go viral, but, yeah, 1,000,000 followers, I think, in under a year, which was
Nice.
insane, you know, from,
Yeah.
like, it was my personal account. I had, like, 2,000 followers,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like, college friends and whatnot, and then it went to 1,000,000, bro,
Got it.
just because I kept animating, kept pumping out
Yeah.
content.
So there's a guy and he's like to his friend, like, "Hey, I just found out that snakes have legs." And the
Yeah,
guy's like, "Oh,
yeah.
really?" And the snake comes up, and is like, "Hey, I'm a snake. I don't have legs." And the guy's like, "But I read it on the internet." And the idea is the snake is arguing, like, "Look, like, not everything you read on the internet is true. I'm a snake. I don't have." And the guy's like, "But I read it." So then the guy's like, "You know what? Unfollow." And
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
video for everybody listening, just to, for some
That was it's
context.
very hard for me to, like, distill it.
That's why I
That was
did
a
it.
pretty good rundown.
Yeah.
Every time someone asks me to explain it, it's tough, but that's it. It's like a pseudo political cartoon of, you know, not believing everything you read on the
Yeah.
internet. I
Yeah.
think the internet is an amazing thing that could be used for connecting people around the world, and it's a miracle of technology. It's a miracle of humanity, but we choose to be idiots on it and just, like, fight with each other and,
Yeah.
like, fight with your uncle and unfriend him on Facebook back when Facebook was a thing. But, you know, that was, like, 2017, bro. That was, like, Trump's first year in office
Yeah.
type shit. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
vibes were off. Everybody was fighting. You know, peanuts compared to what happened a few years later with COVID and all that. But, like, at the time, it was like a very divisive time, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Let me make this little joint about getting along," and
Uh-huh.
the funny thing about that one is everybody thought that I made that making fun of the other side.
Got it. Of course they do.
Everyone thought
Yeah,
that,
of
you
course.
know, like, Democrats were like, "Oh, this is about Republicans," and Republicans were like, "Oh, this is about
Yeah.
Democrats,"
Yeah. They'll just find
and
anything to fight about.
bro, it was, like, perfect because it just made everybody laugh, which is all I'm trying to do, so
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, so getting back to, like, the business side of, like, the money side of the shit,
yeah,
you now have this thing, right? Like, this this popularity, and it's something you probably wanted for a long time, and now you have it.
sure.
What did you do with it?
I mean, you know, it felt like it hit pretty instantly right at the start of my career because I had whispers of it, you know, coming up through YouTube. And then when Snakes Have Legs hit, like, you know, that like put it to a whole new caliber, you know, put it to a caliber that was so much bigger than anything that I thought was possible before.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, damn, okay, cool. Like, I'm just gonna roll with the punches, and maybe I can make some money from this thing. Maybe like, how wild would it be if I could make it my full-time job, you know? Because
Yeah.
I was still like taking freelance videography off on like Craigslist on the side to
Okay.
pay the bills. And then within a year, man, like it started getting so big and fruitful where I was like, not only am I able to pay rent from this, you know, I'm able to like, you know, start building the business.
The money was coming in just from YouTube views or?
Brand deals. Yeah, brand deals, merch.
Okay.
YouTube would never really pay me that much because my shit's so short.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, man, I started making like, you know, real money for a 22-year-old at
Yeah.
least. And um it there were points where I was like, well, this is the biggest it's gonna get. Like I have a real thing, that's cool, but like this is it. Like I'm coasting. Like I just gotta, but then there's always another thing that just hit that much harder and made the thing that much bigger.
Yeah.
And I've had that point, you know, 4 or 5 times in my career. And every time that happens, it's like freaky, man. Cause like success is a great thing, right? Like you said, you want it for so long, and then it happens. And the pressure's on you not to fumble it. Right. Like now you have to structure your shit. Now you have to be very mindful of not only your time, but your energy and make sure quality isn't diminishing across the board. Like you gotta like make sure you're on it.
Yeah.
And that only gets harder and harder, right?
Yeah, of
Like
course.
ideally it gets easier the more you like outsource your shit and like build
It's
your
worse.
team.
The pressure.
You know, like which is why I'm like kudos to you for like tacking on a whole podcast element to your universe because it's just another thing.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
But ideally the things that you keep adding to your world complement all the other shit, right? Like you're doing with your podcast. Like that's how I started thinking about my world. Like every time it sort of upticks in whatever, you know, degree of success, it has to complement the other shit.
Yeah.
It has to strengthen the other shit. It all has to be cohesive because then it just like weakens everything. So
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to, you know, fucking turn that wheel at a hard right when there's a big bag of money over there.
sure.
Like NFTs. We'll get into that. I mean, that was my own personal.
Oh yeah.
You know, as I was researching you, there was one thing you said that was the most artist thing that I read of everything you've done. It was that going into the idea of like you just said about make sure the quality doesn't suffer and everything.
Yeah.
You immediately say, I'm not a good animator. Like your
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
is very crudely
I'm a
done.
bad animator.
But you said something to the effect of like, you know, as my career progresses and as I continue to make things, I'm getting better at what I'm doing. So I physically have to remove frames of animation or make
Yeah, yeah.
things like most artists are like, I need to get better, but you're like, I'm afraid I'm gonna get too good and my style will be different. I just thought that was really, really funny.
You got to
that
keep
said
it
that.
purposefully shitty.
Yeah.
You know, because like I think yeah, if it gets too polished, it loses its charm. And what made my stuff pop off to begin with was like how not perfect it was,
Yeah.
right? And you look at like my whole world, like whether it's like my digital work and the animations, and then even like my physical paintings or whatever, something that I doodle on a sketchbook or you know the NFTs or whatever, like they're always like not perfect, man. And I
Yeah.
love that shit
Yeah.
because I think
It's a
more
good
than
message,
nothing,
man.
it's a
Like
good message,
so many
right?
artists beat themselves up. Their work's not good enough to show anybody yet. That's
Yeah.
something else you said I really liked was like, I just started promoting myself even before I knew what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
Like, I think so many artists are like, I don't want to show this to anybody because I just spent 30 hours in this painting, but the eye's a little bit weird. Like,
You
so I'm
gotta
not-
put it out,
just
man.
to
You gotta
show.
put it out because like if you don't put it out, it's like it never happened.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're over here like spending hours and hours to make it perfect, and then you never put it out. I saw it a million times in film school. Like people would be working on their film for like years, man, and then they would just never put it out.
It's like a
and then they
fear thing,
lose
dude. It's
steam.
like you get, as long as you're working on the thing, you don't have to do something else and you don't
Yeah.
have to show anybody yet.
yeah,
They just get, it's like a safety blanket.
you gotta get out of your own way, man. I think so many creatives like they're their own worst enemy and they never put the thing out. And like, yeah, you have to make sure it's good enough, but you also got to make sure that people see it.
Yeah.
Because you've been working so hard on it. If you don't put it out, it's like nobody ever saw it and
Yeah.
it doesn't exist, right? If it's
Yeah.
not on the internet, it's almost like it doesn't exist. So you got to get out of your own fucking way. You got to put it on the internet. Even if it's not done, you don't feel like. I remember reading this thing. It was about Toy Story 3. This is like 2010, man. I'm like 14. But like I was reading this article about Toy Story 3 and how like the animators never feel like it's done. They
Yeah.
could always get some more extra time, but there's a deadline. It has to go out in theaters. Like you think about like all the little intricacies of an animated film. as intense as like a Pixar film, but like you got to get it out there,
Yeah.
right? And so it's never going to be perfect. And if it's never going to be perfect and you're waiting for it to be perfect so you could put it out there and publish it, it's never going to get published.
You're not gonna go
So it's
anywhere.
like,
Yeah.
bro, just like put it out. I promise you nobody will notice the little things,
Yeah.
and you'll thank yourself, right? Because you could close that chapter and move on to your next adventure, I think.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Let's put a bow on that part. Let's move forward a little bit. You are just making money from your YouTube content. You're doing brand deals. You're making merchandise.
Mhm.
But I think things really started to change for you whenever NFTs kind of popped off, right? Because you were kind of a perfect fit for that world. Is that true?
Yeah, it kind of all hit. I mean, 2021 was a big year for me in terms of art because I started painting physical canvases during quarantine. I had nothing better to do. I was like stuck in an Airbnb and just, started ordering some canvases on
Why were you in
Amazon.
Airbnb?
So I moved to LA. Well, I didn't. So I gave LA a shot. January 2020. I was dating a girl at the time. She lived out here,
Got it.
and I was like, let me live out there for a few months. Skip the New York winter. Got
Yeah.
an Airbnb, thinking I would fly back to New
What
York.
part of
March
LA?
2020. I was in Silver Lake,
Okay.
like right by like Dinosaur Coffee and like
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was like, man, this place is weird as fuck, man. Like people are weird. Like people don't like, they say they want to hang out, but they don't actually hang out. And then it turns out none of that shit mattered because, March 2020 rolls around and
Yeah. Everything
COVID hits the
crushed.
fan and I extended my Airbnb. I just kept extending it month to month to month. And I lived in that Airbnb for 8 months. Then I was like, I think I live here now,
Uh-huh.
and got a lease on Hollywood Boulevard and had all my shit shipped from New York. So that was how I ended up living here for a few years.
Yeah.
Then I dipped and became a nomad like I am now. But yeah, man, it was in that Airbnb like where I was just experimenting with painting, and I was like, oh, there's something to this, like very therapeutic, like very physical, like nice switch up from the digital animation side of things. And then people started buying my shit for like a few $100, and I was like, damn. And then someone bought my shit for like $1,000. I was like, dude, like this is insane. Like I would have to hustle my ass off and like, to make an animation for it to like get $1,000. Like, damn, like, okay, I just sold a piece that took me like 30 minutes of my love. And like, so I saw that started happening. And then a short while after, NFTs started becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds interesting. Let me like put a pause on that. Don't want to dive in just yet. And I kind of hung back and listened and learned a little bit. And then I just like made like 3 and I put them on OpenSea. And there were like MP4 videos of like my older animations that looped real nice. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not even going to talk about this on my socials. Just let me see what happens. And they sold for like, yeah, 1 ETH, 2 ETH. And
You did it yourself. Like no one approached you.
no,
with
no, no.
NFTs.
Yeah, just myself, man. And just because I just wanted to test the market and
That's
see
so
what was
wild to
there.
me.
And those sold totally
Was
organically.
this after the boom? Like let's just say Beeple. I always use the
Oh,
Beeple like as a post holder for people who don't know about that world. Like
yeah, people happened what, January 2021? Early
yeah,
2021?
because my shit hit February 2021 and was like 3 days after Beeple. I was on the
Damn.
same platform
Wow.
as him.
Wow.
Like I had already done a release and it did fine. It did okay because no one
Yeah,
cared
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
But then like 6 months prior to the explosion, I had another drop scheduled
Sure.
and it was 3 days after Beeple's. So
wow.
everyone on Earth was like, they saw what people did, and then everyone on Earth was like, "What's an NFT? I want one." And I was up
Wow.
next.
So which meant you knew what NFTs were like late 2020. If you
Yeah,
already
I
had
had
something
so
coming
I had
out.
the owners of Nifty Gateway. You know that platform?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had Duncan and Griffin on the podcast, and it's so funny because if I go back and listen to that, I literally have no
idea.
idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
It's wild timing because I guess like that's early as fuck. I thought I was early because the 3 that I'm talking about were on OpenSea March 2021, and those sold. And I was like, damn, that's cool, but still, I'm gonna tuck it away. Like I don't want to do like I don't know what to do in this space.
yeah,
And so then it wasn't until that summer where me and my buddies in New York were just like, well, what would it take to do like one of these like 10K PFP collection projects? Like my character special would be perfect for it.
yeah.
Started building that up and just chose a date, December, to mint it, and hype started building up. And
You did it yourself?
yeah, man, all myself. Like, and this is before like tools were available. Like, there was like, now it's kind of automated, I think, more so, but like we were working with coders that we knew that were just like doing some black magic shit, man. It was like some wizardry, and like because I'm so heavy on the art side. But yeah, man, that and then that shit, like, sold out, and it's that whole year was crazy for me because I was selling a lot of physical artwork. That was, like, an awakening for me because I was like, "Holy shit," like, "Okay, like, I'm an artist."
You
Like,
have, like,
I'm
different channels
yeah,
going.
I'm, like,
Yeah.
selling, like, big canvases, small canvases. I'm getting paid to, like, do a little mural, and I was like, "Shit, like, okay, like, that's cool. I like that. I like how this feels."
Mhm.
So it was an awakening on that front, and then in late 2021, early 2022, my NFTs popped off, and it did, like, millions of dollars in, like, a few minutes, and it was, like, number 3 on OpenSea type shit,
Yeah.
top 100 collections in the world, and I was like, "Damn, now there's this whole other thing still under the umbrella of art, but, digital art, NFTs, like, whole different thing, whole different world." There's a lot of, like, overlap, but there's also just a lot of not. So, I was hitting it from those 2 different fronts for that era of, I guess 2020 into 2021, 2022, and it was just so much newness, man. Like we were talking about before, like a lot of it was daunting, and I
Yeah.
saw a lot of success from that, but there was also, like, a lot of negativity that came from that, and there was also a lot of learnings that came from that
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know if I was ready for all that.
Did you get did you get to in the problem where, at least for mine, when I had my big blow up from NFTs, I didn't realize that all these collectors were gonna want something from me like immediately after that. And also, dude, I'll never forget this. Like mine was like arbitrary day, February 20th, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
this happens and we do quite well. And I go to bed, I'm so happy because like I bought my parents a house with the money and all this shit.
Wow.
I'm on the toilet the next day. I'm just sitting on the toilet. I'm just on my DMs, and I got all these DMs like, "You motherfucker! I bought this and I can't sell it, and I lost all this money because people bought it to try to flip it immediately because like people didn't know what NFTs were yet. They just thought
Sure,
it's like a stock.
sure.
Like thousands of DMs like fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like
That's
oh my
crazy, bro.
yeah,
It was dizzying for sure. I mean, I rolled as I do with anything, I rolled with the punches, right?
hmm
Like, goes back to Snakes Have Legs, like, had that idea, got 200 million views, and I was like, "I guess I'm an animator now." But, like, same shit with selling my first canvas. Sold a canvas, I guess I'm an artist now. Just, like, always rolling into it,
yeah,
like, and figuring it out. But with NFTs, man, yeah, I was like, "This sounds cool. The technology is exciting to me." It's a polarizing subject, right? But I think, like, the artists are able to get paid. That has not been the case for millennia. Are you
for real,
kidding me?
yeah,
And you have a lot of people, like, hating on it, like, "Oh, like, it's bad for the for the
environment,
environment and
yeah,
bad for the economy as well."
yeah,
But, the logic there is like, "Bro, this is built on art, and it's getting artists' work out there." Like, fuck, man, Starbucks is brewing frappuccinos, much, much worse for the environment.
yeah. Even
You know
printing
what I
on
mean?
T-shirts way
But,
worse.
and, like,
Yeah,
building cars or, like, the very phone that people are tweeting on to, like, shit on NFTs being bad for the economy is like, "Bro, it's an iPhone, bro. It's, like, built in a
yeah.
sweatshop."
Dude, it's
Like,
like you said
kidding me?
earlier when you put out the snake video, Republicans are it's just like people are
Yeah,
finding things to
to
use
hate.
to
Yeah, yeah.
argue with.
Yeah, and, like, obviously, there's a long way to go, right, as with any technology, but what I saw was a new technology that put artists on a pedestal finally and got them paid directly what their value should be, and I
Yeah.
thought that was incredible, and I wanted to tell all my artist friends, and I wanted to tell all my musician friends and poet friends. I'm like, and for a minute, it looked like that could be the case, but I think since the technology was so new, yeah, man, I just think it attracted a lot of good people, but it attracted a lot of bad people as well, and my dad actually, put it perfectly where it's like the internet bubble. When the internet was new on the block, it attracted so many creatives and innovators and people that wanted to see where this thing could go. But it also attracted a lot of scam artists, bro,
Yeah.
and a lot of bad people, and about a lot of people that just tried to use it to make a quick buck and make a flip or make some quick cash. And, um, like that's the internet, man. You see where the internet, what the internet has become 20 years later. But yeah, man, like with NFTs, I think it was exciting to folks like me and you because we were like, this, there's so much creativity that could happen here. There's so much innovation that could happen here. But it attracted a lot of bad eggs, man,
Yeah.
and
It's
people,
money. People go towards where the money is.
anything that deals with money, man, shit's gonna get weird.
Let's talk about a really bad thing in money in NFTs with you right after we go get our coffee. Let's take a break real quick. We'll get the
Perfect,
coffee. Yeah.
perfect.
So you did the PFP project and it sold out, did fairly well.
Yeah,
But I was again the research. someone was like, "Hey, wait a minute, I want some of that money."
Oh yeah,
And it was the owner of Planet Hollywood.
billionaire, bro.
We were bad mouthing him yesterday. My assistant, she lives in Long Beach. She's like,
Yeah, yeah,
they're building a fucking Planet Hollywood in Long Beach. I don't know.
yeah,
What was that about? Was he
bro.
ever a partner of yours?
No, man, there was extremely light discussion. Yeah, that same summer when I was already building my shit, but
At the time they emailed you and like, "Hey, do you want to work with us also?" Is that what happened?
yeah, no, I mean, they just pitched me on some arbitrary shit, like, never came to fruition. They claimed there was a contract, there was not. Um, and I went on and I did my shit.
Yeah.
And like I said, all by myself, bro. Blood, sweat, and tears. And it's such a classic artist story, man. Like you put your soul into something, it goes really well, and you're like, holy shit, man, 1 in a million shot. This
Yeah.
shit went well, and it went well. Or
Yeah.
so it feels, right? Shit finally happens. You make your bag. Hell yeah, you walk off into the sunset type movie scene. But
Uh-huh.
it's never like that. There's
No.
always someone waiting for that
Yeah.
in the fucking shadows to come after you, man. That's exactly what happened to me. And it just so happened to be by a group of guys, one of which being a motherfucking billionaire, bro. And they're going after like Mr. Beast and like the likes. I'm like, it's insane, bro. It's absolutely insane that people can prey on creatives because it's like, I don't know how the business world, you know, if you're like in fucking stock trading and shit, you're on Wall Street, of course you're going to be like, you know, bloodthirsty going after the other guy, like praying for the other guy's demise. But like creatives, man, it's a whole other vibe, bro. Like the odds are so stacked against us
Yeah.
for us to be able to do this for a living. And then you not only do that, but you make a surplus of money and have a surplus of success where you're able to take care of your friends and invest in future projects in case buy your parents a house, take care of your family. And for motherfuckers to come after you for that,
Yeah.
it's that extra sting. You're like,
Well, they're not
fuck,
creatives.
man.
They don't get it.
How
to
could
them-
you, I guess?
Yeah,
It's
just like-
madness. It's absolute madness. I get
Yeah.
it. But yeah, bro, that shit happened and
So wait, talk a little bit about what happened. Like,
Yeah.
they obviously you got a letter in the mail like, "We are suing you."
that would have been cool if I got a letter in the mail. That would have been very cinematic. I got an
Oh.
email. I was
Yeah,
watching.
of course you did.
I got a
Oh, it's
fucking
not
email, bro.
1974 anymore. I'm
Dude,
sorry.
I was watching Kanye's documentary on Netflix. It was Friday. I was chilling. I took a fucking nap. I was feeling myself. I wake up from that nap and I got an email that I'm getting sued for like an insane amount of
The
money,
number
bro.
was in the first email.
Oh yeah, no, it was like send us. They claimed they were owed 50% of everything that I made,
50.
and they also wanted me to kill my project. It's all public, bro. It's insane. But I was like, fuck that. What the fuck are they talking about? First of all,
Yeah.
and like, you know, I'm lucky enough that I have, I had and I have such an incredible team of, you know, attorneys and managers behind me that were like, fuck that. We're gonna like fight this shit
Yeah,
because none of
obviously.
it's true. But imagine if I didn't. Imagine I
Yeah,
was just
roll it
like
over.
motherfucking Joey from Connecticut. Sorry, Connecticut. But like you're just chilling, right? And you see a weird amount of success for whatever reason, and you have no team. And maybe
Yeah.
the people in your life don't even know anything about this business.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not gonna ask your parents, like, you know, who are working at the local Walmart, like, hey, how do I like, you know, defend myself against this billionaire, bro? It's like what the so I was very lucky that my team was, you know, in place and but yeah, bro, realistically, that was a year and a half of my life that I had to fight a frivolous, you know, greedy, meritless lawsuit. And of course I won, because it's bullshit. And you could imagine what would happen if I didn't stand up for myself, man. And I think I want it to be a landmark case for other artists and other creatives. So they see like, fuck yeah, stand up for yourself, man.
Yeah.
Don't roll over and die. It's not gonna take a month. It's not gonna take 6 months. Bro, this shit took a year and a half of my
They actually
bandwidth.
fought back.
Oh, bro, it was back and forth, man. It was like it was hilarious. It was
Did
like
I read they fabricated a contract?
yeah, I never saw so the day that I saw a contract,
Uh-huh.
like a full-fledged contract, signed, countersigned contract, was the day that I found out I was getting sued. So
Got
that
it.
shit popped up in my inbox saying, "Don't you recognize this shit?" I was like, "No, the fuck are you talking about?" And it was just a very hard reality check, man, so early into this new tier of success. And it brought me back down to earth, man, real quick. Cause
Yeah.
yeah, I was riding high and I think that's like if I were to talk to, you know, say my younger self, like who was gonna get into like the art world game and start making major moves, like the first thing I would tell myself, man, or any artist, you know, starting out, regardless of their age, is like, be careful, bro. Like,
Yeah.
motherfuckers are out to get you. They
Yeah.
won't come after you when you have no success and have no money. They're
Yeah.
gonna come after you when you have success and you have money. You know, the first time that happens, whatever that may be. For me, it happened to be in the NFT world because, you know, headlines and press, and it was all like public information, and it was like the razzle dazzle and of it all with the buzzwords, NFT, mint out,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Caught attention of some nasty folks, bro. But yeah, man, I would just tell my younger self, like, they're there, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know, nobody's out to, like, you know, be your
Pat
best
you on the
friend.
back.
Like, yeah,
No,
bro.
everyone wants
Especially in
a
a time
taste.
like that. So,
Yeah.
um,
How long of a time did you get to feel good? Like,
how do you mean?
from the minute it's sold out, this particular project, from the minute it's sold out until something happened, how long of a time did you get to feel good about it?
Like the day before?
So one day?
Yeah, bro. Like
Okay.
it was a wild, because like yourself, like I think nobody could have prepped us for how tall of a task it was to upkeep a project like that.
Did
And
you have promises?
we had a roadmap, like
Yeah.
very, but like pre-mint. It was like, you know, like here's what we did. It was a roadmap of what we did and what was coming up until the day of the mint. And so when people started demanding all these things, like, you know, when roadmap or when this, when that, I was like, okay, like cool. Like again, rolling with the punches.
Yeah.
Made a roadmap, killed it. Made a second roadmap, killed it.
Yeah.
Now nobody cares about roadmaps. Now it's like about grander vision. And I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. Do a show in Hong Kong for Art Basel, kill it. Do a show in yeah, at K11 Shanghai, kill it. Break multiple records. But it's also like, now nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Now, like, you know, your casual like day trader slash holder type, you know, demographic who are
They're out.
only in it to make a buck.
Yeah, they're out.
They're out, man,
Yeah.
because it's not like generating cash. It's not a lotto
Yeah.
ticket. It's not like only going up.
Silver
Like,
lining here, because I don't
yeah.
want anybody. Sometimes I get afraid whenever we talk like this. The silver lining is you were gonna be a creative whether or not this hit for you. At least it did, you know?
Oh, bro, it
Yeah.
is such a it's like a sci-fi chapter in my life.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, bro, you know, millions of dollars in crypto, like overnight.
Mhm.
You know, Business Insider writing about my shit. Like,
Did you
bi-
pull your money out?
yeah, for the most
How
part.
long did
Like,
it
you
take?
know, what? Like until like
From the day you like mine was on Nifty, and like
yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
obviously a period of time when you like cash me out, please. And until it
Oh
gets
yeah, bro. I
it's
was
like
like, I was always pretty strategic. Like, I didn't want to like, I definitely didn't want to keep all my shit in crypto just because I didn't know, man. Like, I didn't
yeah.
know. But yeah, bro. Like, even like the word like cashing out, crypto, like lawsuits, like roadmap, Discord, like, bro, it was a dizzying time,
Yeah, of
man.
course.
And so many people went through it in different flavors. You know, like I had like a very certain type of flavor. Like other people went through different flavors of shit. Like you sound like you had it pretty simple, man, which I'm like happy to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, no, it was just like a very sci-fi surreal time. And you know, in a way, bro, like I'm glad that it happened like that because I think it taught me a lot of the very grim lessons that come with this world and with this specific, you know, niche career that we find ourselves in. You know, greedy people are gonna come after you, man.
Yeah.
And you gotta protect your shit and you gotta stand true to your word
Yeah.
and you gotta build a damn good team around you, man.
Yeah.
Because like if you don't got that support system, you're gonna flop, bro. Because like there's not only the support system of making sure the everyday business is running, making sure like, you know, like whatever clients are, you know, pleased or whatever. Like I'm talking like emotional support system. Bro, I was 26
Yeah, I can
getting
imagine, dude. I mean,
getting
I'm
sued by a billionaire, bro.
yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah, I'm way
And I'm
older than you.
glad,
I couldn't
bro.
imagine being your age and that
When you were
happening.
26, right? Like, and I'm 26, like living on my own in like West Hollywood, like feeling like I got it all figured out, then that shit happens. Wildest curveball of my life. And I'm blessed, bro. My family, they were there for me. My friends, they were
Yeah.
there for me.
Yeah.
My team, they were there for me. People, like just as much as you know, a random motherfucker or two comes out of the woodwork to get you, like the only way to combat that is by having 100, 200 people that are there to give you a hug and tell you it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed that I have that. And yeah, man, I think like with all that being said, like, I'm glad that it happened the way it did, right? It was not a fun time,
Yeah.
but I learned so much about the world and I learned so much about myself. And if you could, it's like I'm trauma bonded now with my artwork, right? Because now I'm like, bro, I'm gonna make this shit whether no matter what happens,
Yeah.
like even if it kills me,
Yeah.
like this shit's my life.
Of course.
Have it
Yeah.
painted on my clothes, I have it tattooed on my body. Like
Why
my
they're
artwork's
upside
my
down on your
life.
knuckles, dude? Why are they upside down?
Not to me, they're not. No.
Right? It's been bugging me. I'm sorry, but yeah. No, I get it, dude. I mean, like you are your art. At least that's
Yeah.
spoken like a true artist. Like there's gonna be ups and downs. I mean, I imagine I saw a video I watched a video.
Yeah.
It's like 2022, worst year of my life.
Yeah.
Was that
That
what
was
you're getting
that.
sued?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was all
You
that.
kind of fell out of love with it a little bit.
Yeah,
You
man,
kinda got
because
to see what
it's just
actually
like
happens?
it's just like
Sorry, we're talking so much about this. I don't think people ever get to hear this enough.
no, I'm glad
Like,
we're talking
this is
about
what
it.
actually
Yeah.
this is what it's actually like to become successful. Like, it's not all fucking glitter.
No, bro, definitely not. Definitely not. Especially, I mean, 2022. I made that video. 2022 is the worst year of my life. Especially the YouTube version, on my channel, where it starts with that 60, 90-second short film that I made that really outlines like, yeah, bro, like shit was so bad in 2022 where I didn't even know if I wanted to do this anymore. It
Yeah.
really you know, put the pressure on it. I was like, I started having like weird like affiliated feelings with my own art because now my art was bringing me so much grief, right? Because in the fucking lawsuit was like a picture of my art, and it just the affiliation started bringing me pain, and then I
Yeah.
would like look at my own character like Spesh, and I'd be like, "Fuck you, man!" It's like a weird relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and but I stuck that through,
Yeah.
and I just woke up every day, man. I tried again. I'm like there's like that meme, like me knowing that I get another chance tomorrow, and it's like a dog like just like sleeping peacefully, bro. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that was me, bro. For most of 2022, man, I was like, today sucked. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. The sun will be there. It'll be rising up over the clouds, man. I'm gonna give it a shot, and I gave it my all, bro, for like hundreds of fucking days in a row, and like hundreds of days in a row were like shit, man. It was
Yeah.
like, it was not puppies and rainbows, but you make it out the other end, man. Like you make it out smarter, you make it out wiser. But the reason I made that video was, yeah, to like, whether you're a creative, you're an artist or not, whatever you do in your life, like, yeah, bro, you have to know that like it's gonna be okay on the other side. My characters, always put that out there into the world. That was always my message in like my animations and my book and my little songs. But like I don't think I ever really been challenged to the degree that I was in 2022. And now I was. I
Yeah.
went through my own trauma. I went through my own shit. And now I have to really double down on that message because now I fucking know, man. I got a taste of like how bad it could get,
Yeah.
how low it could go. And all of a sudden, I think the message was that much more real to me. And I was like, bro, I'd be a traitor to my fans if I abandoned this shit now. Cause now I believe in my own message. I was watching my own videos, bro, to cheer myself up. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
watching my own videos from like years prior when like I was just
So
like,
young and naive.
yeah, bro, just young
Yeah.
and naive.
Yeah.
And they were like reminding me of why I'm doing this in the first place. And so all of a sudden, my own art, my own characters is bringing me the joy that it brought millions of people. Who would I be to like quit all this now?
Of
There's so much
course.
more to do.
What else would you do
What the
anyway?
fuck else am I gonna do, bro? So
Yeah, I mean, like, I
just
just
sit
feel like
around,
most of
man.
us, like, what else would we be doing? You know?
Just sitting around, bro. Just
Yeah.
sitting around and,
What would you do? In my
Yeah.
mind, if I could pick something else to do, I would be in a punk band that like is like a world touring punk band.
oh, bro, I have an answer for this actually.
What is it?
A car mechanic. I don't know
That's
what,
what you want to do?
bro, I don't know what it is about a motherfucker like wheeling themselves out from underneath the car and they got like grease on like
Yeah.
their like white like tank top and shit and like a rag over their shoulder, bro.
Uh-huh.
Something about knowing how a car fucking works and
Do you know how to do any of that at all?
fuck no, man.
Okay.
How sick would that be? Can't you see that shit, bro? Me rolling out from underneath the car with like a fucking pencil in my mouth or whatever
You
they
sound
got.
like a car mechanic.
I know, bro.
Yeah.
When I would walk home from high school, I would pass this auto shop. I'm like, maybe,
Yeah, all right.
maybe.
All right.
I don't know. I was contemplating it for a minute in 2022.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would've
Go
been
be a
wild.
mechanic. Well, let's talk about greener pastures.
Yeah.
Let's talk about 2023. You
Yeah.
had 2 actual art exhibitions.
Yes.
Both in Asia.
Yeah.
I know the second one was in Shanghai.
Yeah, yeah.
Where was the first one?
First one was in Hong Kong.
Sick.
Yeah,
Okay, Hong
wild
Kong's my
place.
favorite place on earth.
Yeah, bro, I love that. I love that
Where
place.
was it?
It was like a citywide activation,
Sick.
if you will. So
Okay.
I covered one of the HK tramways with my art. Took over California Tower, did a big old mural in LKF area. Um, did a bunch of activations in K11 Musea out there.
Okay.
A lot of stuff with
So
like
there wasn't like
children.
one centralized location to go see work. It was just everywhere.
It's still kind of everywhere. It's
Okay.
wild actually, because all the Bored Ape holders were out there
Yeah.
recently, and they were like, "What the fuck? This is a Coolman mural!" Like, yeah, it's still out there, man.
Nice.
And the tram was driving around, and that was wild. That was like a first for me. And
Did
just
you do like a merch collection with all that?
yeah, we did.
What was the money maker?
There was none. No, there
Someone
was
had to
none.
make money off it.
Nah, nobody, bro. That was like for the love, bro. And that was me coming out of
Well, how'd they fund it?
2022.
I don't mean like someone got to walk home with money in their pocket, but obviously it costs money to do all this stuff, right? Who funded it?
I mean, it was out of pocket cost for me.
You did
I
it.
probably lost money doing that.
You did it all.
Oh yeah. Like, it's just kind of partnership based, like relationship based with like Hong
got
Kong
it.
tourism doing the tram. But goes back to what I was saying, like,
Was that Chris that did all that?
Chris
Everyone
helped
listening, Chris is
navigate. Yeah,
sitting-
no, it was
sitting over here.
actually my whole team came on that shit, man. Like it was
Okay.
just really out of the love. Like that was out of nowhere too. That was
Yeah.
for Art Basel out there. But definitely not money driven. Like that was coming out of my dark period,
Yeah, yeah, of
2022.
course,
And I
yeah.
was like, had the opportunity to go out there, place I'd never been before,
So
other side
March?
of the world.
March?
March
We
2023.
were just allowed to go back over there.
Yeah, no, it just opened
Yeah,
up
like,
2 weeks prior.
yeah.
Like the mask mandate lifted like 3 weeks prior. And I went, man, and it was insane, bro. It was exactly what I needed. Just brought so much life back into my eyes because I'm in this foreign place meeting people that have been watching my shit for so long and like rolling up to watch me paint a mural that we took over a bar
Yeah.
called The Parallel. That shit was like packed out.
And they're
we
so
shut
happy
down.
you're there.
So happy, shut down traffic. People just like drinking, smoking cigarettes, watching me like
Yeah.
paint my cat's symbols on the wall,
They're
bro.
much I've always felt like Asian culture, they're much more open to like expressing that they're happy you're there. Like Americans are
yeah,
kind of too cool.
Well, I think it's just for art in general, especially like kawaii type art, right? In
Yeah.
general in Asia, like if you got a cute character, it's gonna slap, and people will let you know that shit fucking
Yeah.
slaps,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
In
you're perfect for
America,
that.
yeah, I mean, in America, it's like on the off chance that they're into it, they'll be like, "Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
cute. That's cute."
Yeah.
But I remember like every time, bro, I would start drawing spesh or my little like spesh symbol. People would like, especially the girls out there, like they would be like, "Oh my God, that's so cute." Like I started laughing at myself because
Yeah.
it was so to the T every time. I would draw like 3 lines and the second it started looking cute, people would love it.
That's
And
awesome.
I love and I also there's that excitement, like, Hong Kong, for example, just opened back up. And so I think like that just breathed so much life back into my world. And it's from the people, man. Like for years I was like I was like servicing the people by making shit for the people.
Mhm.
And then in that moment, the Hong Kong example is a perfect example where they were giving me a service of just showing me love and
Yeah.
and breathing life
Recharge.
and energy into me.
You just spent 2
rejuvenation.
years worrying about money and fighting about money, and you went back and it's about the love of the work again, and people are just happy you're making something.
Bringing it right back down,
Yeah.
right back to the art
Your
and the
batteries
love
got
of it all.
recharged.
Yeah, man. No, that was like
Yeah.
rejuvenating trip for me. And I come back to the States like with this new life, and we did a show in Miami with this fashion label, and it was just wild, bro. So that was the first one. Yeah, it wasn't exactly one point of an activation, but realistically covered the whole city, which was again out of my own pocket. So the second one in Shanghai
That's more like a
that was the central point. That was at K11 Shanghai, and
that's
that
more
one
like a
was wild.
spectacle, right? Like that was like it was an art exhibition, but like it was also like interactive, right?
It was like exhibition, like experiential. You walk in, you see like big vinyl sculptures of my characters, and you learn about me as an artist, like, kind of like the whole timeline, right?
Mhm.
Each room was a different era of my life.
Got it.
And worked with this agency in Shanghai called V Collective, and they killed it. They brought my whole vision to life. And it's funny because after the opening night, which was packed out, like that was my first like show like that, packed the fuck out. I'm sitting with like the whole like K11 team and the V Collective team, and they're like on their phones, like just like reviewing the data from the day. And they're like, "Oh, there was like over 1,500 people here on this opening night." I was like, "Oh shit, that's great." Like I didn't know if that fell short of like 5,000 or what was
Yeah, got it.
expected. And
Uh-huh.
they're like, "No, that like broke every previous record."
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Oh, damn. Okay, cool." So,
Yeah.
broke records, first Shanghai show, but that was open for 3 months, man. So that was like you said, like museum type attraction where the public were able to go and cop a ticket and just learn about this artist over in New York, like,
Yeah.
who just conjured this whole imaginary world up and now it has its own thing.
Was the artwork for sale or was it just merchandise for sale?
Yeah, just merchandise, nothing for sale,
Okay.
so purely experiential for the most part,
Got it.
where
Okay.
it's like the first time you could take like a selfie with my character Spesh and his little pet iguana Iggy,
Got it.
and we're doing a whole spin-off thing from that because one of the rooms was so successful with the wallpaper was like my repeating Spesh like cat design pattern all rainbow, and it turned into like unexpected selfie moments. So we're doing a print release of that in a few weeks, which will be like my first print release since I fell off the face of the earth practically for 2022, or so it felt. So,
Mhm.
yeah, man, like so much good and love came out of this year alone from all those shows,
Yeah.
abroad, like, Asia, but even here in the States, man, just to like see the love again, purely for the art,
Yeah.
separate from like the hype and like the speculation or whatever, because there was a lot of that, but just right back down to like a mother pushing her stroller by and like looking at my mural that I just painted. And she's like, "Oh, I love that." And then
Yeah.
seeing like, you know, her take a selfie with her little 2-year-old. That's what it's all
Of
about, bro.
course.
That's what
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. We're getting towards the end. I have random questions.
Sure. Yeah.
Tell me about 30 under 30 Forbes. What's that about? So everyone listening, Forbes, the magazine has a 30 under 30. They note 30 human beings under the age of 30 who are
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah.
something. Why were you picked? What point in your career was it? Because I don't know what year it was.
That was I was class of 2020. So I think it was December 2019.
Was that from like just look how many views this guy has? I'm not trying to dumb
Yeah,
it down.
no.
I just don't know.
I think like yeah, they just kind of saw what I did up until that point in December 2019, and they reached out to me like, "Hey, you're being considered. You're being
Okay.
considered," which I thought was an honor in and of itself.
Yeah.
And you fill out like this whole thing, like asking about like what you've done and for like references, like people that'll vouch for you, and your socials and like what you're most proud of. Like I took this whole ass questionnaire, man, and I was like, maybe I'll get it. I don't fucking know. That'd be crazy. And yeah, man, I wake up one morning and I'm like in the magazine on like the list on the website, and that was like a very proud moment for me.
They didn't
'Cause
even tell you.
no, no, no. You find out the day of. At least for me. They
Did you
might
get
have
like a
changed
plaque
it.
or something? You get anything?
I did. Yeah, yeah. So I made my own because I felt like I needed to
Yeah, you have
gift one to my
something,
mom
right?
or some shit.
Yeah.
And then they mailed me a real one. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But
Okay.
that was a wild validating moment because like Kevin Durant was the face of that shit, and like
Yeah.
all these other like A-list, and then there's me, man. I was 24 at the time, bro.
That's
So
sick.
it's wild.
Very
That was
nice.
that was the one that like your parents and your grandpa care about. They're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
something everybody can grab onto and realize what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. Nobody knows what 1 million followers is, but Forbes 30 under 30, they're like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, cool.
Yeah. Talk about imposter syndrome. That's the next topic.
Oh man.
Super common, by the way. I'm not just picking
Yeah,
on
yeah,
you, but
yeah.
like it comes up a lot on this podcast.
Imposter syndrome, I think, is healthy. It sucks, right? Because like you almost feel like you schmoozed your way,
Yeah.
right? And it comes back to that thing, like you got to be your own biggest fan, but also naturally you're going to be your own worst enemy and criticize every small detail. But imposter syndrome, bro, just means I think you're more successful than maybe you ever thought you would be. You feel incredibly lucky, and you feel like there's no way any of this is real or sustainable, and you have this constant like paranoia that it's not, and it's not sustainable, and you feel like I said, like you kind of just fooled everyone. Like
Yeah.
you just like, you're putting on a whole show, which you are.
You
Like, you're putting on a
but
show.
The show isn't fake. It's who you are.
It's who you are.
Yeah.
And the only way that I think you keep rising in success and you keep a level-headed head on your shoulders is by having imposter syndrome, because you're constantly going to keep yourself in check.
Yeah.
You're constantly going to be like, I think by having imposter syndrome, that means you're a real fucking human being.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The moment you don't, that's when you got to worry.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't know you. I didn't know what kind of personality. It could go either way. You could have came here.
Could have been an asshole,
complete prick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're not.
No, I'm a weird motherfucker, man. I'm a weird motherfucker.
Okay.
You get it, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, we're in sync right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. It's good that you always kind of question everything. Cause I mean, if anything, it helps you push your whole career forward. Like,
Yeah.
just thinking that you always have to do better.
Yeah, man. That's it.
Anything you want to talk about? Anything that we haven't talked about, you want to mention here before we get off here?
Damn. No, I appreciate you having me, man. Like I said, props to you for building your own empire over here.
Thanks.
Very inspiring. Yeah, no, I got, like I said, I got my my print drop coming up, which is going to be sick. You know, it's going to be like my first real one in a minute. And I got some shows happening next year that I'm going to be announcing soon. So
Cool.
it's going to be cool. I don't know when this podcast is airing. Probably
2025.
2020. Okay, sick. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know where I'll be by then, bro. I barely got the next 2 months planned.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I would say, like, you know, to dial it back to what I want people to take away from all this is, yeah, man, like, you got to stick true to yourself, bro. Like, as cliche as that sounds, like, you do have to build a solid support system around you. You have to believe in your work stronger than anybody else will. And, you know, man, on a rainy day, you know, when you're feeling extra down, like, you know, no one else is going to be there for you other than the people that you surround yourself with, right? And your art.
Yeah.
So you gotta build that shit for yourself, man. It's not gonna happen it's not gonna happen on its own. I think you really gotta if you want to go for this life, you gotta really do it, man. And I think I've learned that now.
Yeah. Cool. Right on. Well, thanks so much, man. Appreciate you coming over.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Enjoy the coffee.
Hell
Talk next
yeah.
time. See ya.
Let's go.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. You know, maybe you have questions or opinions about what we talked about on this episode. Maybe you have your own questions about your art career or just looking for some advice. Shoot us an email and we'll answer your questions on a future episode. You can email us directly on our website, cleanbreakpodcast.com. And just a reminder that all our past episodes are available there, as well as a ton of free resources, guides, and tips on how to make more money with your art and get more people interested. This podcast is produced by Elijah Walsh, theme song by Ditch David, additional research by Ikram Dadar. I want to thank Patrick, Jason, and the Always Art team. My name is Matt Gondek. I'll crash you next time.